Anakin, his small frame barely visible among the tall stone pillars that surrounded him, could feel the vibration of the force in the air around him. Finally, he muttered under his breath, excitement coursing through his veins. The voice of Valkorion spoke to him then, permeating every inch of the temple with its deep, commanding presence. Anakin listened intently as he was told that he was now worthy, that he had learned all the techniques of the dark side and the lightsaber. His skills were legendary, even at such a young age. He had matched the powers of a Jedi Knight, which was impressive enough in its own right, but to also be a Sith Lord at only 6 years old. It was unheard of. "Thank you," Anakin said quietly, bowing his head in respect towards his grandfather. He viewed Valkorion as more than just an instructor, he was family now. And with that, the ceremony ended. The day had been long and grueling, but Anakin knew it was all worth it. As he walked away from the ancient temple and into the bright sunlight outside, he couldn't help but grin from ear to ear. He was one step closer to fulfilling his destiny. As Valkorion spoke, "You must go now." "Yes, grandfather," said Anakin. He called the ship Servant 1. "I require your presence this once with your ship as well." "Yes, my lord," he replied. 5 minutes later, she saw a ship appearing from the sky, landing in the desert sand. Anakin entered the ship and went over to the star map. "Yes, my lord," said Servant 1, following his master's orders as they entered hyperspace. Scene cut. Jedi Council chambers. As Yoda spoke, "I sense the dark side is very powerful. Find it and destroy it we must." As Mace Windu spoke, "I have heard of news of this new Sith Lord has appeared. He has been killing some of our Markings, and even some Dark Jedi. That turned Sith. His power is impressive, but nowhere near the level of Master. Yet we haven't heard. We must find him and interrogate him for some answers." As the council agreed, "A question is, how are we going to find them?" said Plo Koon. "For now we must wait. He will reveal himself in time, and then we capture him. We must reveal the information about the remaining Sith Lord," he will said Yoda. As the council all agreed on this. Scene break. Analia was in Watto's shop, filling it with the smell of her sweat and labor, when two fogs burst into the room, demanding a slave. Watto emerged to negotiate, while Analia watched fearfully. When Watto refused to part with Shmai, one of them unsheathed a blaster, and, before Analia could react, pulled the trigger. With tears streaming down her face, Analia unleashed all her rage, using the force to lift everyone in the room in the air, until their bones cracked, and their bodies crumbled into a pile of lifeless flesh and blood. Their pleas for mercy echoed in Analia's ears as she fled from the scene of horror. With nothing but her mother's dying look guiding her way, she managed to return home and gather what few possessions she had. Laden with supplies, she ventured deep into the desert where she planned to survive for as long as possible. Scene break. Anakin could sense the death of Shmai. He did not care for her. But he cared for Analia. He wanted so badly just go back to Tatooine and just take her with him. But Anakin remembered his grandfather. He must face the darkness alone. With a new resolve, he went to the training room and activated a practice droid to train his lightsaber with, and some of his force abilities. He did that for like an hour or two, and then he went to sleep. He's all the rest he can when he arrives in Zakuul as they ship exited out of hyperspace. And Anakin woke up. Servant 1 said in the intercom, "We have arrived." My lord. Anakin ordered Servant 1 to landed in the central part of the city. As the ship landed on the landing pad, he stepped out of the ship as two guards approached him. The guards are wondering how to do Outlander come in this planet, as the last Outlander nearly destroyed it. As Anakin spoke, "I am the true heir to the eternal throne." He spoke with conviction. As the guards looked at him thinking must be joking, but seeing the eyes in this kid's face, yeah, she thought he might have believed it as Anakin spoke, "Take me to your leader." As the guard ordered him to hand over weapon, Anakin not fearing what these guards can do, he gave his weapon, his lightsaber, to them. I say walked. Eventually they arrived into the spiral. They went to the elevator, and it went all the way up. Eventually they entered the throne room, but the throne room looked to be in space. Surprisingly, that tower went that open space, and he's wondering how the hell they built this, but not caring how they did it, he kept on going as Anakin spoke. "Who are you?" To their leader. "I am Knight Lumos. I am the ruler of Zakuul." "And who are you?" said to Lumos with a cold tone. "I am the true heir of the eternal throne." "You are just a pretender," said Anakin of slight anger in his voice. "Oh, I see you come here to take my phone. You're mistaken, as you can clearly see here. You're just a mere child, but I am going to lead to warrior, the head of the Knights of Zakuul. I am the true heir. I am the descendant of Valkorion," said Anakin with conviction in his voice. "You dare to defy our founder's name?" As Valkorion spoke to Anakin, "Say this, kneel upon the dragon of Zakuul." As Anakin repeated what Valkorion said, "Kneel upon the dragon of Zakuul." As the chair that Lumos was sitting on electrocuted, the man was sitting on it. Lumos was shocked as he jumped out of the chair, wondering what the hell did he just do to this. As Anakin spoke, "You see the throne I commanded, because I am the true heir." Lumos was just thinking one way he can keep his power, and he thought he could defeat this brat. "So be a child. I challenge you to a battle. Only the strongest shall rule Zakuul." As Anakin said, "I accept." One of the guards was keeping his lightsaber, throw it towards Anakin. He caught it as Anakin ignited it with a growl. He went into his fighting stance, so did Lumos as they clashed blades. Anakin was clearly the more skilled duelist, and was faster than Lumos as well, but Anakin was just 6 years old, so he did not have the strength to keep up with no strength. Savannah can decide to be more agile, block less, deflect more as to fight intensified. None of the combatants seems to tire, as Lumos went for a diagonal. Anakin jumps above Lumos and tried to cut off his head. But Lumos raises lightsaber right after I'm blocked it just in time. As Anakin was facing the toughest opponent he's ever faced in his life, Anakin decided to do a risky strategy. He would charge towards Lumos, and they were about to clash blades. As they did, Anakin deactivated his lightsaber. As is Lumos' fault that he dropped it, he decided to try to impaling with it, but Anakin dodged at the nick of time and activity's lightsaber and plunged it right at Lumos' stomach. Lumos was shocked. He was just defeated, and in Lumos' last words, "It says you are worthy now you're ruler of Zakul," as Anakin pulled the lightsaber out and decided to decapitate him. The crowd was shocked as they saw their leader being defeated by a child. As Anakin went over to the throne, he made his speech. He made sure to stream his speech to everyone in Zakul. "I have defeated the previous ruler of this planet Zakul in mortal combat. I have proven the superior foe, as in the laws of Zakul. Now I am your emperor, but fear not, I am the descendant of the immortal Emperor Valkorion. As I am the last of his lineage, this throne is rightfully mine, and with that I expect utter obedience from you all." As Anakin spoke, "I will bring back the glory days of Zakul, where we were on top in the Republic, and the Sith Empire was defeated by our hands. We ruled the galaxy, we brought peace, justice, and security to everyone that lived there, but this outlander was given a choice to join us and ensure peace, justice, and security for the galaxy, but instead he decided to ally himself with the traitorous Arkin Outlander, and Arkin had assassinated him, and after that even the traitor betrayed his ally. He froze the Outlander in carbonite freezing for over 5 years. He swore vengeance upon all the core worlds, and he conquered the Empire and Republic, but he made a mistake in that. He should have finished them off for good, but he decided to leave a remnant of them. He made a treaty stating that they can never rearm themselves. They have to demobilize their Navy, Army, and their GD and Sith respectively, and pay tributes to Zakul, but they could not be trusted. They broke our arrangement in secret, secretly rearming their army and mobilizing them against us. Then a few resistance members came to free Outlander. They managed to escape and make an alliance to defeat us, and they did. Arkin was supposed to be dead, but a year later, he ended up joining the Outlander Valen was an unstable empress in her arrogance. She made a campaign of terror against the galaxy. She had the Outlander and his allies surrounded, outmanned and outgunned, but she fell into the Outlander's trap. She went to confront him and his allies alone with no backup, no nothing, only a few sky troopers that were worth hardly anything. As expected, she was defeated, but Outlander, and he was managed to force the surrender of all of our forces. He managed to re-enter Zakul and take over the throne. He had defeated us, and he humiliated us as well. He stole our fleet, our throne, everything. We were forced to pay tributes for the supposed crimes we committed. We suffered as our people starved, and eventually the Outlander decided to rejoin the Republic, and without the alliance ended in a Sith Empire was defeated. The Eternal Fleet was destroyed. After Rogue AI used the gravestone to obliterate the fleet. With his fleet gone, the galaxy went back into war, and shortly thereafter the end of the Sith Empire happened at the hand of the Republic. Then 1,000 years later, peace happened, but they did not know that our immortal emperor had a small part of the Eternal Fleet in a swamp on this very planet. I will rebuild our glorious army and take back our rightful place in the galaxy. First, we will take back the Outer Rim, and then we will annex them directly toward our empire. Then we will explore the unknown regions with Knights of Zakul commanding our fleets. But before waging war, I have heard news that Jabba the Hutt is having a grand tournament at his palace. A fighting tournament where the best fighters from around the galaxy will face off for fame and glory. I will show everyone here that I am the strongest there is. And then we'll make our announcement to move forward with our plans to invade Tatooine, blockade it, and launch a full-scale invasion that will be our beginning of the war to take over the entirety of the Outer Rim. Are you ready? We're going to march on Coruscant eventually, but we must prepare, train, and rebuild our empire first. Never again must we be defeated. Never again we will suffer. Never again we will be humiliation. Never again we will fall from grace. We will never surrender. With that, are you with me? As everyone on Zakul cheered, Anakin stood up and proclaimed, "In order to ensure our security and continuing stability, the Zakul will be reorganized into the First Galactic Empire, for a safe and secure society, which I assure you will last for 10,000 years. An empire that will continue to be ruled by this august body and a sovereign ruler chosen for life. All hail Anakin! All hail Anakin! All hail Anakin! All hail! All hail Anakin! All hail Anakin! All hail Anakin! All hail! All hail Anakin! All hail Anakin! All hail Anakin! All hail Anakin!" Everyone on Zakul erupted into applause as he sat down. Thrawn contemplating his next move, he decided to send a squad of the finest sky troopers to find the fleet, as he ordered them to rebuild a shipyard to start producing new ships and military academy, trading more soldiers, officers and admirals. He re-established a droid foundry, producing many more needed droids to repair most of the damage that's been inflicted upon the city. He started to modernizing the military equipment and civilian use as well. Zakuul was becoming more and more advanced as days goes by. Anakin started turning more rigorously in the Force, and in the lightsaber he learned many more abilities, and eventually he became stronger than Jedi Master. The Sky Troopers had found their turn of fleet as he's as Anakin himself and with his elite squad of the finest troops, he cleared everything in the ship. He started to reactivate them as the Gemini droids start to reawaken. Knowing the possible threats of these droids, he had them all destroyed and dismantled and recycled for more parts and equipment. He quickly launched the ships in orbits to protect the planet from any outside invasions. 2 years has went by, and now Anakin is 8. He has built up the sufficient navy and army to retake the Outer Rim as Anakin aboard his personal flagship, the Executor. IC had a few million troops and 2 billion droids of all kinds of models, and had around 300 ships, 50 of them being star cruisers, another 50 will be destroyers, another 50 being dreadnoughts, and 5 of being the flagship, and the recipe in the combination of the 4 as Anakin spoke servant 1 set course for Tatooine. He ordered as he commanded. He relayed the information to all ships of the invasion group as they all enter into hyperspace. Anakin informed the plan to everyone. I want the fleet to hide behind the moon of Tatooine. When I give you the signal, you shall convince invasion. It's not clear as everyone nodded knowing their orders. Anakin went off the bridge to his personal chambers and started to meditate. As Valkorion spoke, you have done well, my descendants. You have rebuilt the Empire. You don't have the strength to take over the galaxy yet, but in time you will. As Anakin nodded, Anakin started to meditate for Analia Force signature. As he found it, he senses so much rage in it. Scene break. Analia has been surviving through the desert. She has become a bounty hunter doing jobs in the planet, and outside the planet he's made it quite good in the name of herself. She was hunting a group of Tusken Raiders. One of them went for a break, and they all went for a break. She's pulled out her sniper as she aimed at them. She fall in the head. She counted to 3, 1, 2 and 3 as she shot the speeder that was coming right at the group. As the speeder exploded, killing all the Tusken Raiders, he stood up proud of her work. She pulled down her face mask and grabbed the cantina water as she was drinking. She sensed Anakin coming to the planet. Although she was not training a Force, she will never forget his signature in her life. As she thought about time, he returned, said Analia with a cocky smile on her face. She called her ship. She boarded it and flew over to Jabba the Hutt's palace to collect her money. She landed on the landing pad. She entered the palace. I went over to Jabba at the house himself. Job completed. As she threw the heads of the Tusken Raiders, Jabba the Hutt started to chuckle to himself. Good, good, he said as the droid came by giving her the payments. She was about to leave before Jabba the Hutt said wait. She turned around waiting for what he's about to say. You are a talented bounty hunter. Would you be interested in entering the new tournament competition? You'll fight other fighters with blasters, swords, rifles, and hand-to-hand. It will be a test towards your abilities and skills, and if it only ends in one way, death. If you manage to win, you will have riches that you will never imagine. She was intrigued. She needed the credits to stay off this planet for good, so she agreed as Jabba the Hutt ordered a droid to bring her a paper as she read for the contract, and with a sigh he signed it as she handed over the papers back to the droid. As Java said, welcome, you have now entered in the tournament. We'll prepare quarters for your stay with this new wing. We have an arena, lunchroom, and quarters for all of our fighters. And she know that she went over to her and then puts away her arms and weapons away, and she farted in one way, and Anakin is probably coming back for this, but what? He wouldn't be expecting to see me there probably, she felt in her head, and with that she fell asleep with a smile on her face.